This brutal exercise using only dumbbells or even improvised weights builds muscle throughout the entire body. There are exercises capable of activating up to 20 or even 25 muscles in the body simultaneously. In a world where time is increasingly scarce, the idea of working the entire body with just a few well-executed movements stops being a luxury and becomes a necessity. And science confirms this. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research demonstrated that compound exercises generate up to 43% more total muscle activation compared to isolated exercises, while also providing superior stimulation for testosterone and growth hormone production. That's why today you'll see a single movement capable of recruiting up to 25 muscles at the same time. It's not fun, but it's brutal in its results. And as a bonus, we'll show you 6 more exercises with the same principle to ensure you can perform complete workouts. Before we begin, please leave your name and the city where you're watching our content in the comments. We'd love to know. Exercise number 1, Farmer's Walk. The Farmer's Walk is, without exaggeration, one of the most efficient movements humanity has ever discovered for complete physical development. And it doesn't require any sophisticated equipment. 2 dumbbells, 2 full water jugs, sand buckets, or any heavy object that fits well in your hand are enough to get started. The principle is simple, but the impact on the body is impressive. Each step taken with load in your hands simultaneously recruits up to 25 muscle groups, including trapezius, deltoids, forearms, core, glutes, quadriceps, and calves, all in a single functional gesture that mimics movements humans have performed for millennia in their survival routine. A study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research demonstrated that loading exercises like the Farmer's Walk produce significant gains in grip strength, and this grip strength is directly associated with longevity and reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. To make the weight of this information clear, another study from the American Journal of Epidemiology followed more than 140,000 adults and concluded that each 11-pound reduction in grip strength was associated with a 17% increase in cardiovascular death risk. In other words, every time you train your grip, you're also training your longevity. To execute correctly, position the weights beside your body, spread your feet hip-width apart, push your hips back with your back completely straight, as if starting a deadlift. Grip the weights firmly and stand up using the strength of your legs. From there, walk with normal, controlled steps, keeping your chest up, shoulders back, and eyes forward. Your core should remain contracted throughout the entire distance. Maintain this position for 40 to 60 seconds per set, a detail that makes a difference. Breathe consistently during the movement. Holding your breath increases intra-abdominal pressure unnecessarily. The main errors to avoid are rounding your lower back when picking up or returning the weight to the floor, projecting your chin forward, taking overly long steps that destabilize your trunk, and letting your shoulders drop during the movement. If you notice your shoulders rising toward your ears involuntarily, this is a clear sign that the weight is too heavy for your current level. For those in their 50s or older, the recommendation is 3 sets of 40 to 60 seconds of continuous walking, with 30 to 45 seconds of rest between them, 3 times per week. Progression can be made by increasing the time from 40 to 60 seconds before considering increasing the weight. Regarding contraindications, people with active disc hernias, wrist or elbow injuries without medical clearance, and severe uncontrolled hypertension should consult a professional before starting. Exercise number 2, thruster. The thruster is proof that 2 exercises can become something superior when well combined. It's a fusion between the front squat and overhead press, executed in a single continuous and fluid movement, without pause between phases. The result is an exercise capable of hitting between 20 and 22 muscle groups at the same time, making it one of the most efficient for those seeking complete results without spending hours in the gym. The beauty of this exercise lies in its ability to integrate lower and upper body in a complete kinetic chain, where the impulse generated by the legs directly feeds the strength of the arms. Quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, deltoids, triceps, trapezius, and core are activated simultaneously, and the energy expenditure is extremely high in a short time. That's why the thruster is frequently used in high-level conditioning protocols, including by military athletes and combat sports athletes. For those training at home or with limited resources, it's practically unbeatable in terms of return per minute invested. To execute it correctly, hold the dumbbells at shoulder height with your elbows slightly in front of your body, not open to the sides. Descend into a complete squat, maintaining your chest up and knees aligned with your feet, and when initiating the ascent, use the impulse generated by your legs to explosively push the dumbbells overhead. head, fully extending your arms at the top of the movement. The transition between phases should be continuous. There's no pause between the squat and the press. It's exactly this linking that makes the exercise so powerful and so demanding at the same time. The most frequent errors are letting your elbows drop during the squat, which compromises the weight stability on your shoulders, not reaching adequate depth in the squat, hyperextending your lower back when pressing the weight up, and using excessive load that compromises the entire technique. For people 50 years or older, the recommendation is 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions with moderate weight and 60 seconds rest between sets. Regarding contraindications, rotator cuff problems, knee or hip injuries without completed rehabilitation, and severe shoulder mobility limitations are conditions that require medical evaluation before starting. Exercise number 3, box jump. The box jump is a plyometric exercise that transforms muscular power into explosive movement, recruiting between 15 and 18 muscle groups in a fraction of a second. Glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings, calves, and core are explosively demanded with each jump, and the nervous system is forced to respond at maximum speed to coordinate this entire muscular chain. There's something that happens in power training that slow training simply cannot replicate: the speed of neural activation, which is precisely what preserves the quality of functional movement as years pass. A study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity demonstrated that plyometric training in adults over 50 significantly improves bone density, reduces fall risk, and improves neuromuscular reaction time. These 3 factors are critical for quality of life and independence in this age range. Not surprisingly, longevity specialist doctors increasingly recommend some form of controlled impact training for older adults. To execute, stand at a comfortable distance from the box, slightly bend your knees, swing your arms back in preparation, and jump with both feet simultaneously, using the impulse of your arms forward and upward. The landing should be made with knees gently bent and center of gravity low, absorbing the impact with muscles and not joints. Step down from the box by walking, never jumping down, as the impact of uncontrolled descent is unnecessary and potentially injurious. If you don't have access to a box, wide steps, firm platforms, or resistant boxes work the same way. The most common errors are landing with knees in valgus, meaning with knees falling inward, using too high a height right from the start, and stepping down by jumping instead of walking down. The height of the box is not what determines the benefit. The quality of landing and movement control are. For people 50 years or older, start with a low height between 8 and 12 inches. Do 3 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions with complete 90-second rest between them. Contraindications include severe osteoporosis, knee or hip prostheses, and any acute articular condition and inflammatory phase. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress healthily in the long term in the world of exercise. Exercise number 4, bear crawl. The bear crawl is one of those movements that seems simple at first glance, but which, in practice, challenge the body in ways that few conventional exercises can. It's a primitive movement performed on 4 supports with knees slightly elevated from the floor, and it manages to activate between 15 and 18 muscle groups at the same time, including deep stabilizing structures that are rarely recruited in traditional exercises, performed standing or lying down. What makes this exercise particularly valuable is precisely this ability to reach muscles that remain dormant in most conventional workouts. Shoulders, triceps, pectorals, core, quadriceps, glutes, and paravertebral musculature are all demanded simultaneously to keep the body stable and in coordinated movement. The core especially works full-time during the entire execution, as it's what prevents the hips from swaying and maintains the spine in neutral position. Regular practitioners report significant improvement in trunk stability and general motor coordination after a few weeks of consistent practice, which reflects positively in all other exercises in their routine. To execute correctly, place your hands on the floor directly below your shoulders and knees, just below your hips. Elevate your knees a few inches from the floor and maintain your back parallel to the ground, like a well-leveled table. The movement follows cross-coordination. Move your right hand together with your left foot, then your left hand with your right foot. Advance in a coordinated manner without letting your hips sway to the sides. The more stable the hips during movement, the more intense the work of the core and deep stabilizers. The most common errors are raising the hips excessively, arching the back during movement, moving limbs on the same side at the same time, which completely eliminates the stabilization challenge, and losing control of breathing, which should be constant and rhythmic throughout the entire exercise. For people 50 years or older, the recommendation is to start with 3 sets of 20 to 30 seconds of continuous crawling with 45 seconds rest, gradually evolving to 45 to 60 seconds as coordination and endurance improve. Contraindications include carpal tunnel syndrome, active shoulder or wrist tendonitis, and severe knee problems that hinder under 4-point support. Exercise number 5, burpee. The burpee is frequently called the most complete exercise without equipment in the world, and this reputation didn't arise from nothing. In a single continuous movement, it recruits between 20 and 23 muscle groups, combining strength, endurance, and cardiovascular conditioning in an uninterrupted sequence. Pectorals, triceps, deltoids, core, glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings, and calves are all summoned with each repetition. It's like paying an entire bill at once instead of installments. Painful at the moment, but extremely efficient. A study from the American College of Sports Medicine demonstrated that 10 burpees executed at moderate pace elevate heart rate equivalently to a 30-second sprint. This means you can achieve significant cardiovascular stimulus in minimal space and without any equipment. For those seeking maximum efficiency in daily training, the burpee is difficult to surpass in terms of cost-benefit. To execute, stand up, lower your hands to the floor, jump your feet back, reaching plank position with your body completely aligned from head to heels, perform a controlled push-up, jump your feet back close to your hands, and stand up with a light jump at the top. For people over 50, the final jump can be substituted with a simple hip extension without leaving the ground, and the push-up can be done with knees supported on the floor. What matters is maintaining movement quality, not execution speed. The most common errors are arching the lower back during the plank phase, which unnecessarily overloads the lumbar region, landing heavily and uncontrollably in transitions between phases, and executing at too fast a pace without postural control. If you notice quality drops in the last repetitions, reduce the number per set and prioritize technique above any other variable. The recommendation is 3 sets of 5 to 10 repetitions with 60 to 90 seconds rest between them, with progression made by increasing repetitions before decreasing rest. Contraindications include uncontrolled hypertension, serious shoulder, knee, or lumbar problems, and any cardiac condition without prior medical clearance. Exercise number 6, deadlift. The deadlift is widely recognized as the exercise that recruits the greatest number of muscle groups in a single movement. We're talking about more than 20 groups being activated simultaneously throughout the entire posterior and anterior chain of the body. Glutes, hamstrings, quadriceps, lower back, trapezius, lats, core, forearms, and calves are all demanded in an integrated manner with each repetition. No other exercise approaches this amplitude of recruitment with such practicality of execution. To execute correctly, position your feet hip-width apart with dumbbells positioned in front of your body. Push your hips back, maintaining your back completely straight and chest up. Grip the weights firmly, look slightly forward, and push the floor with your feet to rise, extending hips and knees simultaneously. The weight should remain close to your body throughout the entire movement, as if sliding along your thighs. At the top, contract your glutes and fully extend your hips without hyperextending your lower back. The most common errors are rounding the lower back during movement, which is the most dangerous error and must be avoided at all costs. Pulling the weight with your back instead of pushing the floor with your legs, letting the dumbbells move away from your body, creating a harmful lever arm, and hyperextending at the top as if leaning backward. Remember that the lower back should work isometrically. It stabilizes, it doesn't move. For people 50 years or older, start with light dumbbells. Perform 3 sets of 6 to 10 repetitions with 90 seconds rest, and always prioritize technique above load. Progression can be made by increasing repetitions from 6 to 10 before considering any weight increase. Contraindications include active disc hernias, severe spinal stenosis, and advanced osteoporosis without specialized supervision. Exercise number 7, kettlebell swing. The kettlebell swing is an explosive hip-dominant exercise that recruits between 15 and 17 muscle groups simultaneously, with special emphasis on the entire posterior chain of the body. Glutes, hamstrings, lower back, core, trapezius, deltoids, and forearms are the main groups activated with each swing, while the intense cardiovascular component makes the exercise doubly efficient for strength and conditioning. It's, in practice, cardio that builds muscle, and a strength exercise that conditions the heart at the same time. What makes this exercise particularly valuable is its force generation mechanism. Different from what many imagine, the kettlebell swing is not an arm exercise. It's an explosive hip extension that uses the weight's momentum to create the movement's arc. The arms only guide the kettlebell, they don't actively lift it. This distinction completely changes the exercise. When the hips generate the force, the entire posterior chain is maximally activated, and the risk of shoulder injury drops drastically. To execute correctly, hold the kettlebell with both hands, spread your feet slightly beyond shoulder width, lean your trunk forward, pushing your hips back, let the kettlebell pass between your legs in a controlled manner, then explosively actively drive your hips forward, contracting your glutes with maximum force. The kettlebell should rise naturally to shoulder height, propelled by the hip movement. At the top, your body should be in a straight line, with glutes contracted and core firm. For those who don't have access to a kettlebell, it's possible to improvise by holding a dumbbell with both hands, vertically, or using a backpack with well-distributed weight. The most common errors are squatting instead of hinging the hips back, which transforms the exercise into a squat and eliminates all posterior chain specificity. Using your arms to actively lift the weight, rounding your back during the swing, and not controlling the kettlebell's return, letting it pull your trunk forward in an uncontrolled manner. You'll know you're doing it right when you feel your glutes and hamstrings working intensely with each repetition, and your arms practically resting. For those over 50, start with a light weight, do 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions with 60 seconds rest, and gradually increase load as technique becomes consolidated. Contraindications include active lower back injuries, shoulder or elbow tendonitis, and any hip mobility limitation without prior professional evaluation. If you enjoyed this and want to discover also the 10 gym machines that every man over 40 should avoid, we have a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one better. Don't miss checking it out. Thank you for watching until here, and may God bless you, my friend.